Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to episode 2 of the Convention Reviews podcast. That's right, we're still doing this thing. I haven't fallen off yet. 2 weeks in a row. Keep this momentum up, hopefully. This is the official podcast for the Convention Reviews YouTube channel. Whether it's just me or if I have a guest with me, which I don't this week. I think I'm going to have a guest next week though. And you guys know him. You know him very well if you watch my channel. But nobody this week. Maybe I should have had somebody, but oh well. This is where I talk about all things happening and coming up in the cosplay and convention world, as well as reading convention stories from you, the listener, and ending it all out by answering your questions. It posts every Monday on YouTube and the Convention Reviews SoundCloud, which you should check out if you want to listen to this on the go. And it's coming soon to iTunes, so you can't listen to it on the go with normal podcast apps yet. We're trying to get up to 10 episodes before I put it on iTunes. There's a reason for that. We'll talk about that when we hit that 10th episode. We're not there yet, so just stick with me a little bit. Only 8 more to go after this one, and then we'll be on iTunes for all those waiting for that. We are sponsored by the ACR Dealers Room, which can be found at shop.spreadshirt.com/convention reviews. Now, I say sponsored, but this is just my personal merch shop. If you want to go buy any convention review stuff, help support the show and support me to be able to go to more conventions and do more of this kind of stuff, give you guys more awesome content on the channel. And that's pretty much the rigmarole. That's what this is. This is going to be a nice break today. I can't guarantee a long show today. I think this is going to be kind of a short one. Some people want that, though. I'm getting, totally different mixed things from you guys. I have people saying, I want a show 30 minutes or less. And I have other people make it just don't go over 2 hours, but make it long. And I'm like, well, I'll try to give you guys something in the middle. Some weeks maybe it'll be shorter, and some weeks maybe we'll get longer like that. I don't know yet, but this is probably going to be one of those short ones. This is going to actually be, this next 30 to 40 minutes, it's going to be a good little break for me. I've been studying all morning, studying Tagalog. Or Tagalog, I think that's how you pronounce it, which is the main language in the Philippines. They do speak English there, and they do speak a couple other languages too, depending on where you go, but Tagalog is the official language of the Philippines. And if you guys probably don't know this, but I'm actually really into learning languages. There's something really interesting about it to me. I studied Japanese for 3 years, actually. I find it fun. I find it really enjoyable. So now I'm teaching myself this language, and I'm really enjoying it. Thinking about writing a bucket list soon of languages that I want to learn before I die. I think it'd be really cool to know 10 plus languages. That would be awesome. I don't need to be 100% fluent in all of them. That would be amazing. But if I can just know enough to get by, I think that would be really cool. I want to always be learning one. If you've never tried to learn a language, you should really do it. I highly recommend it. If you're thinking about it, we're kind of off track already, but if you're thinking about it, I recommend, if you're not going to be able to take a class or anything, look into Memrise. It's an amazing website to just learn vocabulary. And then kind of just Google and look things up about your specific language and best ways to learn. There's always Rosetta Stone. There's Pimsleur. Use Anki to learn more vocabulary. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. But yeah, that's not what this show's about. Sorry to get off onto that. I do want to mention that I did have a new video come out over the weekend, which is my recap video of all of 2016. You guys should really check that video out because I'm very proud of it. I put a lot of work into that. I spent 4 days editing that, and I never spend that long editing a music video. Maybe 1 day max because I need to get it out. But this one I had the time to do that, and I really think it shows. It's one of the best music videos I've done, for sure. And it's definitely not only editing time, but if you stop and think about it, this video was recorded through all of 2016. So this is literally the longest time to make a video I've ever had in my life. And like I said, I really think it shows. I really like it. Personally, I like my Dragon Con video better. I'm not going to lie. That's just being honest. But I am very proud of this video, and I really want you guys to watch it. So please, if you're like watching this on YouTube right now, it'd be awesome if you paused it and went and watched that music video if you haven't seen it already. And just make sure to throw it a like, comment, because that stuff really does help. You guys don't understand how much that helps with YouTube changing the algorithm and all that stuff. It's getting a lot harder on YouTube for people. YouTube is cutting no slack for anybody. So yeah, please check that out. And finally, I do want to also just mention that my Patreon will soon be going back down. This is not because I'm not showing support on there. I am. It's just, it's kind of hard to explain. I feel like I've not done a good job with it. I feel like the things I'm offering on there are not great. I feel like even the things that are decent, I have a really hard time delivering on them. And this is especially true with the fact that the channel is kind of on hiatus right now. So I'm going to take it down and I'm going to rework everything, and I'll probably relaunch it when the channel relaunches. Like, obviously I'm doing things on the channel because this podcast is going on the channel. I just had a video come out, but this is not, we're in and off time. I'm not going to cons like at least a couple of months. I'm not doing any of that right now. So, you know, it's not a great time to be supporting me on Patreon anyway. I feel bad people give me any sort of money, even if it's just like $1. I still feel bad that people are doing that, and I'm not putting out regular content right now, and that's part of the plan to be able to put more out later, but I don't know. So we're going to rework that, and if people really want it, because last time I took it down, I had like an upswell of people that were like, don't take it down, what are you doing? So I immediately brought it back up and didn't think a lot about it. This time I want to really think about it and really put work into it and make it worth it to you guys who want to do that, because the only reason I even have it is because I was asked by people to start one. People wanted to use it to support me. It wasn't a thing of me being like, oh, give me money. It was, I had people asking me. And I want to just make sure that for those people who are asking about it, that it is the best it can be. But that's pretty much it. That's all the stuff we need to cover here in the beginning. So let's get into the real show. This is a segmented show. If you don't know, we're going to go through some different segments. Last week on episode 1, I mentioned that the first real segment would be news, and that I didn't have any news. Well, I don't have any news again because that bores me. I decided that if there's any news that's super interesting and needs to be talked about, I will bring it up and talk about it. And it could even be the topic of the show. But there's nothing this week, nothing I really care about. Blue Exorcist started. That's cool, whatever. I don't think it's newsworthy enough for me to like have a whole topic about it. So I changed that topic to Carnivore of the Week. Because I want to be able to shout you guys out, because this is a community and I want to recognize that. I want to recognize this community because you guys are awesome. There's none of this without you guys. So this is where I highlight someone from the Convention Reviews community for being awesome. To get yourself featured here, all you have to do is be active. So comment anywhere you can, whether that's on YouTube below this video if you're watching it on YouTube, or it's on my Instagram, or it's another great place to do it and get noticed and featured is through the Facebook Carnivore group, which you should join anyway, because that's like the best. That's literally where the community is. And there's a link to that in the description on YouTube if you can't find it. You can also get featured by emailing me at acrweekly@yahoo.com and telling me why you should be featured, why you're awesome, why you've done something awesome, or why you deserve it, if you really think you do. But I can't promise anything. Just because you send me something in and you're like, hey, I'm cool, talk about me. I cannot promise that. I need to know why. And so far today, I only have one person to feature, and that is because he wrote me, and he is actually the reason that I came up with this. Philip Helajar. He told me how to pronounce his last name in the email, and I totally forgot to include that in the show notes, so I'm pronouncing it wrong again. Sorry, Philip. He wrote me last week, and I answered his question on the Q&A part, and then he wrote me this to ACR Weekly. He said, "Hi, Cody/Convention Reviews. My name is Philip. I wanted to thank you for answering my question about anime. If I may add to what you said," and I mentioned that he said his first anime was Madoka Magica. I mentioned that I thought that was so funny because it was kind of a newer anime, and that he must be kind of young just getting into it. He said, yes, I did get into other anime series a lot later than most people. I don't know if you would consider Pokemon the TV show an anime. I do, but it is one of those weird ones where it is, but the way like we saw it with 4Kids dubbing it and everything, it really didn't feel a lot like it, but it is. But I've been watching that since as far back as I can remember. I usually say around 1999 or 2000 is when I really started. I'm still watching to this day. That's awesome. I do not watch Pokemon anymore, unfortunately. Still play it. A friend of mine, back when we were at boarding school together, invited me to a group of other guys to see the Madoka series in movie form at the local movie theater. It was subbed. I did watch it dubbed later on. I personally prefer dubs. Also, I don't know if you've watched the series or not, but Kyubey is one of my favorite characters. I've even cosplayed him at a couple of local conventions. His views on life are very interesting in my opinion. Thanks again for reading my Facebook question. Thank you, Philip, for writing that in. I know you had no idea that I was going to feature that on the show, but thank you for your question, and thank you for that story. You are the Carnivore of the Week, the first one, and thanks again. You're awesome. Next, we move into cons happening this weekend. Now, I know, oh my god, there's a massive bug on my computer screen right now. That thing is huge. I think I'm going to just have to let it go. I can't stop the podcast now. It's just standing there, though. It's just looking at me. Oh my gosh, it's massive. Okay, we're going to pretend that that's not there. Pretend I didn't see that. Okay, this is when we get into cons happening this weekend, and I know that this is kind of late. You might hear a con and be like, oh, well, that's close to me. I want to go to that. But it's a little late that it's happening this weekend, but I know for some of you, there are people who will still be able to go to these. I had somebody last week mention, I didn't know that there was a con happening in this place. I don't remember where it was, and they were like, I'm going to check this out. So for some of you, if you're close enough, this could be helpful. These are all anime, comic, and gaming cons that can be found this weekend. Those are the ones that I typically stick to. There's just too many cons to name them all if I don't narrow it down. This week we have 17 conventions. This is a surprisingly busy weekend for cons. So first we have Animore from January 13th to the 15th in Baltimore, Maryland. Ohio-Con, January 13th to the 15th in Columbus, Ohio. This con is awesome. If you guys are near Ohio, you should really think about going. Just go for one day. Last year, me, Drew, Shelby, and Nate, we all went up for just Saturday, and it was a great experience. I didn't vlog it. I did a music video, though, and you should check that out if you're thinking about it. The music video will definitely convince you to go. I wish I could go this year. I really thought about going up for one day, and that still isn't impossible. We need to see what I'm doing next Saturday, see what the weather's like. I might end up there. You guys might see me there. There's no promises, but if you see me walking around with my big camera, don't be surprised. We'll see what happens. 3. Otacon Vegas. Did not know that was this weekend. January 13th to the 15th in Las Vegas, Nevada. 4. Otaku Matsuri, Oklahoma. From the 13th to the 15th in Norman, Oklahoma. 5 is Samurai-Con from the 13th to the 15th in Columbus, Ohio. This is a surprise to me. I did not know that there was another con in Columbus the same weekend as Ohio-Con. I can't recommend to go to this con. If you have and it's awesome, then go. Look it up. If you think it looks better than Ohio-Con, go. But I endorse Ohio-Con for sure. I think it's an awesome con. I can't speak on Samurai-Con. Didn't even know it existed until literally right now. 6 is Arceia? I'm not sure if I'm saying this right. Arceia from January 13th through the 16th. Boston, MA, is that Maine? You're guys are going to realize really quick I'm not good with the abbreviated states. I need to learn these if I'm going to be doing this, but next is Anime Shogatsu from just on the 14th. And this is in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. 5 is Anime Shogatsu from January 13th through the 16th in Boston, MA, is that Maine? You're guys are going to realize really quick I'm not good with the abbreviated states. I need to learn these if I'm going to be doing this, but next is Anime Shogatsu from just on the 14th. And this is in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Next is Tricon KW on the 14th. This is in Kitchener, Ontario. Again, in Ontario. 9 is Anime Impulse. I've heard of this. And that is January 14th through the 15th in Panoma, CA. What is CA? I don't know. That's not California, right? No, surely not. We're going to look it up. I'm going to open up a new tab so I can start learning these. And like in a few episodes, I'm not going to have to look these up anymore. It is California. I'm an idiot. Yeah. Panoma, California. Anime Impulse. I've heard of this and I've seen videos of it. I think it's new-ish. Could be wrong about that. 10 is SwampCon from the 14th through the 15th in Gainesville, Florida. 10 is MarsCon from the 13th to the 15th in Williamsburg, Virginia. 12 is Anime Blues Winter Remix on just the 14th in South Haven, MS. We're going to have to look that one up. You guys are probably like listening to this right now screaming at me because I'm stupid. Oh, I looked up MS. I got the disease. Of course I did. Mississippi. It's Mississippi, Cody. Come on. Mississippi. 13 is Albuquerque Comic Con. Did not know that's how that was written. I almost really tripped up on that word. In New Mexico from the 13th to the 15th. 14 is Comic Excitement Convention in Los Angeles, California. 15 is Philadelphia Comic Con in Essington, Pennsylvania on just the 15th. 16 is Water Gap Comic Fest in Mount Bethel, PA, which is Pennsylvania, I assume, since I just read one that was Pennsylvania. And that's on just the 15th. And finally, the 17th and final convention I have on here is Scarab Gaming Convention, SCARAB. I don't know if that stands for something. Gaming Convention in Columbia, SC, which I'm assuming is South Carolina, but we're going to make sure really quick. Yes, it's South Carolina. And that's from the 13th through to the 15th. That's all the conventions that I could find. I use a few different resources to find these. I cannot promise that that is all the anime, gaming, and comic conventions that are happening, but that's all of them that I could find on like 6 different websites that I compile these from. So if it's not on here, it's probably pretty small or pretty like niche, and nobody knows about it. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to any of those, and let me know how they are. Also, if you go on the next podcast, let me know how it is, because I'm always looking for more cons to add to my list to go to, because this year and like the future from now on is going to be really weird for me going to cons. It's going to be something, and I'll talk about that more in a video coming out later this week. That's about my 2017 con schedule. It's about to get really interesting, guys. But let's move on into convention story time. Admittedly, this story I'm about to tell, not nearly as crazy as last week's. Not super crazy in general, but I picked it because it's not super long, and I just wanted something easy to get through this week. It's interesting, and I got some things I want to say about it. So this is where you guys send me in stories of crazy things that happen to you while at a convention. I read it on the show for everyone. Remember, if you want to get your story read on the show, just email it to me at acrstories@yahoo.com. This story comes from Lisa. She had her last name on here, but I don't know if people want their last name said, so I decided I'm just going to try to say people's first names, even though I just said Philip's last name earlier, but I mean, I butchered it, so. This is from Lisa, and here's what she has written. Again, just really quick, I won't say this every time, but cut me a little slack on the reading of this. Like I said before, normally when I would do these on video, I would cut out anytime I messed up, but since this happened, I record this live now. I can't really cut out if I mess up, so I'm still getting better at reading live, and I'll get better and better until eventually there's no problem. But for now, this is the second one I've done like this, so, cut me a little slack. Lisa says, something really embarrassing happened to me at I'm messing up already. Something really embarrassing happened to me at Fanime Con 2016. This was my first day of the con. A relative purchased my badge for my birthday present and was going to give it to me on that day. So for a while, I didn't have my badge and I wasn't able to go to the second floor. I just took pictures on the first floor with a friend and with other cosplayers as I waited for my relative's arrival. I was dressed as Gender Bent Ash Ketchum from Pokemon, and I wanted to get a picture with this person in a Pikachu mascot cosplay. I'm picturing one of those really big ones that you see walking around. That's gotta be what it was. I just got off the elevator and was walking towards the parking lot. I followed him to try to get a picture. Other people were in front of me doing the same thing. The people in front of me started to jog. The area barely had any people, so we did the same. On the opposite side of the garage was a line going outside. While me and the other con goers were trying to get the Pikachu's attention, the staff member watching the line sees us. She looks at me and my friends and yells, "No running!" Everyone in the line stared at us, and I felt really embarrassed. I said sorry back. I'm not sure if she said anything or didn't say anything after that because I didn't want to be seen after being embarrassed in front of all these people. I sped walked as fast as I could to get away from the area to just try to brush it off. After a while, I thought about it and wondered why she yelled at me and my friends, but not the others. After that, I never saw the staff member and the Pikachu mascot ever again. So that's our story. Like I said, not that crazy. I just wanted to mention it because I thought it was interesting, It's an interesting little story, but I don't know if, this sounds like really slight embarrassment. I don't want to talk it down because I'm sure it was something. I would have, if I was Lisa, I would have yelled back hey, no yelling. But I'm a jerk, and I've gotten way too confident at these conventions, especially with jerk staff members. So I would have been chill the F out. Really, come on. There's not a lot of people around here. Why don't you take your little power hungry self and just shut it? But that's just me. Don't follow my example. Because not all staff is bad. And I'm not saying this was a bad staff member. They're probably just doing their job. I'm just being a jerk. But yeah, guys, I just want to mention that if your story is only semi embarrassing, it might not be worth sending. I read this one, but I want to let you guys know I get a ton of stories. A ton. And a lot of them are really bad. I read this one because it was shorter and I wanted something a little shorter this week. But send them anyway. But if it's not super bad, I cannot promise that it's going to make it on the show just because of the sheer amount that I get. And it doesn't actually have to be super bad. But if it's just a little embarrassing, just realize that if it doesn't get read, that's why. Because there was just way worse stuff. But anyway, Lisa, I do want to thank you very much for taking the time to write that out and send that in. And this was actually one of them that was a little bit better written, which is another reason I read it. Guys, please try to read back through what you're sending me. Some of these things I get and I'm I think I know what's going on here, but I can't follow it. I can read between the lines. I understand some grammar problems and spelling. I'm not a great speller, but to try, look back through it or have somebody proofread it before you send it. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I need to be able to get the gist of it. Some of these I get and I'm oh my God, I have no idea what this says. And I have to delete it because I'm I have no clue what they're trying to say here. But anyway, thank you again, Lisa. I do appreciate it. And there's a train going by. You guys might hear that. I live by a train track. That's unavoidable. Shut up. It's unavoidable. Until I get a studio somewhere someday, hopefully. I want to be here the rest of my life, but so yeah. If you want to send in a story, don't forget that's acrstories@yahoo.com. Please send those in. I've got a ton to go through, but I'm always in need of more. Why not? The show's going to be going for a while. Let's get into this week's topic. This is where we talk about one specific topic in detail, and I do have something for you guys this week. I was a little afraid earlier. I was I don't think I have any topics to talk about, but I do. I want to talk about... Oh, shoot. I had a write-out about this thing, and Looks like it's missing. Where's my write-out? Oh, there. Oh, there it is. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. This week's topic is about the 11 largest conventions of 2016. We're going to go through the list. If you don't know, animecons.com, shout out to them, puts out a list every year of the top 11 biggest cons, and it talks about like how they've moved around, because I'm really interested by like the minutia of this kind of stuff. It's like video games. It's like when I like video games, but I think there's another train. There's 2 trains going by my house right now, guys. 2. That's another one. Oh my god. I'm really sorry. I mean, there's no way I could have known this was going to happen. I truly do apologize. It's so loud to me. It's got to be loud to you guys. Hopefully you can hear me. But anyway, I'm really interested in the minutia of things, like with gaming, is what I was trying to say. With like E3, I'm almost more interested in watching E3 and watching companies battle it out than I am actually playing the games, even though I do love playing games. So that's kind of the same thing with cons. I'm interested to see like what con passed who and all of that stuff. So let's get into this. This is the 11 largest North American anime conventions of 2016. They only talk about the North American ones. I don't know why that is, but that's what they do. Go read their full article on animecons.com for the full list and it goes into major detail. They have huge write-outs about each con that you can, like, we can really get into, like, what has happened with these cons, what's going on. But either way, let's get into it, because I don't want to, like, read their article verbatim. You should really go check it out. Alright. Number 1 is Anime Expo. Obviously. I don't think this is a surprise to anybody. Oh, shoot. Okay. Anime Expo, number 1. Approximately 100,420 warm bodies. Warm bodies means everybody that was at the convention. There's 3 different ways that conventions, like, rank how many people are there, and you should go read their article to go into depth on what all those are. But warm bodies basically means everybody there. It's the attendees, it's the staff, it's the vendors, it's every person in the con. And this is actually up 10.96% from last year. Pretty sure this is the year when they broke 100,000, which is incredible. That's incredibly big, especially when you look at the next biggest con, which is 32,639. 32,000 to 100,000. Okay, number 2 though, 32,639 warm bodies, up 11% from 2015. This is a huge leap. This is going to surprise some people. It really surprised me, honestly, looking at this. This is Acon in Texas. Yeah, it's the number, as far as 2016, it's the number 2 biggest convention in America. That's shocking. A couple years ago, it was Otacon. Otacon has really dropped off. Don't know what's going on with that con. Then last year, it was Anime Central, which Anime Central has been passed by Acon. I think Acon went up, like, it was like number 5 or number 4 or something, and it's up to number 2, which is incredible. Number 3 is Anime Central, still holding close near the top, at 31,469 warm bodies. So it's only a little over 1,000 below Acon, so it could definitely pass it back up next year. But it only went up 1.4%. That's not much. That's not a big increase. Acon went up 11.08%. So if Acon continues to grow like that, but I think they're going to a new place, so they may dip off next year, or this year, if they have a new venue. That's what I heard. I'm not 100%, don't quote me on that. But I heard they have a new venue. And if that's true, sometimes that makes cons dip off. So if they continue upward like that, there's no way ASIN's going to pass them. But then again, I'm pretty sure this year is ASIN's 20th. Pretty sure. Could be wrong about that too. I should really fact check some of this stuff. This is either their 20th or it's next year. One of these years is coming up is their 20th anniversary. Whenever that happens, I guarantee ASIN will probably be number 2 again. No way it's going to break 100,000, but it'll probably be number 2 again. Number 4 is Anime North. which is in Canada, at 29,973 paid attendees. So paid attendees is different than warm bodies. Warm bodies, like I said, includes staff and vendors. Paid attendees is literally the attendees. It's literally everybody that paid to go to the con. It doesn't include staff. It doesn't include vendors. So when we look at it like this, it could actually be the real number 3, because if we include the staff and the vendors and all that, it could definitely be 2,000 higher, which would put it above Anime Central. So those two are pretty neck and neck, to be honest. But it is down 0.78%. Not much, but it didn't grow, which is never good. Cons typically tend to grow every year, so that's not good. Otacon had 29,113 paid attendees. It's at number 5, and it's actually up from last year, which is no surprise. It's up 8.32%. It's no surprise simply because this year, or 2016, was their last year in their famous venue that they've had for so long. They're moving kind of far, and so it's not a surprise that a lot of people who probably used to go were gonna go again this year. Not surprising that it's up, but it is a little surprising that it's still only number 5. Really interested to see what happens to that con in 2017. It could literally fall off of this list, or it could jump way up. Who knows? It could do anything. Number 6 is again a surprise. This is a shocker to me. This con had 28,781 paid attendees. So not warm bodies, this is real paid attendees. And it's up 14.63%. That is a massive leap up. That is insane. That's higher than what Acon did at 11%. 14% higher than last year. It's no surprise when you hear what this con is. Anime Weekend Atlanta, sitting at number 6. I don't know what it was last year, but it definitely grew. I don't know if it was even on this list. I think it was on the list last year, but it has shot way up, and that is no surprise. If you go to Dragon Con, you'll hear a lot of people talking about that they're going to go to Anime Weekend Atlanta soon. It happens very soon after Dragon Con, and it's getting bigger and bigger. It's the same general area as Dragon Con, kinda. It's in Atlanta. And this doesn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if in 5 years, Anime Weekend Atlanta is breaking into the top 3. That would not surprise me at all. Very interested to see what happens with that con. And I plan to be there this year. I don't want to miss it again. Number 7 is Anime Matsuri in Texas at 30,215 warm bodies. That's everybody all together. And then 28,270 paid attendees. And it is up massively. Prepare to be even more shocked. 24.2%. 24%. I was going on and on about 14% with Anime Weekend Atlanta. 24%. Texas is becoming the home of some of the biggest cons in America. This is the second Texas con on this list, and it's no surprise. When you look at these cons, they look really good. I've never been. There's obviously a lot of people in Texas. I'm gonna hit at least a con this year. I can't promise Anime Matsuri. I think it kind of falls in a time where I can't go. But A-Con, I have every intention to hit. I've got to check out these Texas cons. They're getting a lot of traffic recently. And again, Anime Matsuri, I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why it went up 24%. But that's something substantial. So I'm definitely interested to see what happens with that on the next list next year when 2017's top 11 cons come out. Number 8 is Anime Boston at 26,975 warm bodies, and it's down 0.64%. Not a huge drop down, but again, it's never good for a con to not grow. That's sitting at number 8. Number 9, Sakura-Con. This is in Seattle, I think. It's in Washington. I know it's in Washington. I think it's in Seattle. And this is kind of a little bit of a bigger drop here at 23,000 paid attendees. Rounded off, it doesn't say percent up or down they went, so I'm not really sure if they grew or dropped, but Glad to see that they're still on the list. I used to hear about this con all the time when I was younger, and I still haven't been able to go. I really want to go. Number 10, con that is one of my favorite cons, definitely my favorite anime convention. My favorite con is probably Dragon Con. If you go to that con, you'll see why, because it's insane. But Youmacon, number 10, at 21,036 paid attendees, up 9.56%. Really glad to see that con is still going up in attendance, especially considering they were under construction this year, which could have hurt the con. It does in some cases. Did not hurt Youmacon, and I would expect Youmacon to become one of the premier conventions. I mean, it already is in the top 11, but even more so, one of the premier conventions in America in the next 5 years. I'm sure it's in the top 10, it is number 10, but it wouldn't surprise me if it gets up in the 5, 6 area in the next few years. But that who knows with some of these cons, the way they're jumping up there. I really like to see that con grow. And finally, number 11, Otaku-thon. Don't even know where this con is held, to be honest. Let me know in the comments. Was at 21,315 warm bodies, which if you're listening, you'll notice that's more than what Youmacon was, but Youmacon was paid attendees. This is warm bodies. So they're trying to exclude the vendors and everything. You would assume that Youmacon would still be bigger. And it's actually up 5.47%, which is a decent increase. That's what we want to see. But again, don't know a lot about that con. And that's pretty much it. This stuff really interests me. Very, very interested to see where these go. Excited to read this next year and see how things change up. But let me know what you guys think about this list of cons, and were you surprised by any of this? Let me know in the comments below if you're on YouTube. And yeah, go check out the article for sure, because they list out, like I said, all the cons and talk way more in depth about them, more than I did, for sure. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, animecons.com, and it's in their news articles. It's their top 11 largest North American conventions of 2016. If you look that up on Google, look up largest North American conventions of 2016 with animecons.com on Google, I guarantee probably going to be the first page that comes up. And with that, we move on to our Q&A, which I actually have no questions this week. So all I wrote down was, there are no questions, frowny face. I was sad when I wrote that. Guys, ask me some stuff. I've got lots of experience doing this stuff, whether it's, it can be anything, guys. I want to talk to you guys. I want you to get to know me better. It can be about anime. It can be about games, anime conventions. Obviously, I know about that. YouTube, running a YouTube channel, or travel. I know I've been learning a lot about travel. You can ask me about language learning, because like I mentioned, I'm very into that. I mentioned that earlier in the episode. There's all kinds of things that I'm interested in. You would be surprised the kind of things that I kind of delve into. So please leave your questions below in the comments below on YouTube. You can do that. Or if you really want to make sure that it gets seen, send it to acrweekly@yahoo.com. I check that every week before the show. That's where we get our questions from mostly. You can leave it on YouTube, and I'll probably see it because the show's still so early. But as we get deeper in, acrweekly@yahoo.com is where we're really going to have to look to make sure that I see your question. Because on YouTube, it can kind of get lost in all the comments. But for right now, I think you'll be alright. Leave me some questions. Please, guys. Please. I want to answer your questions. I really do. It's my favorite part of the show. I'm not going to lie. Answering your guys' questions. So I save it till the end so we can go off on a good note. And, since we have no questions, that's it. Like I said, kind of a short show this week. You can follow my personal Instagram at Cody Reviews. Follow the follow the Convention Reviews Instagram at ACR. Sorry. Let me restart that. Follow the Convention Reviews Instagram at the ACR Crew. Join the Facebook community. If you're on YouTube, there's a link in the description. If you're not, go on Facebook and look up Carnivores. I think as a hyphen. Convention Reviews Community. Or just look up Convention Reviews Community or just Carnivores. It should be the first thing that comes up. I post there all the time, along with the rest of the crew and hundreds of other fans of the channel. And that's it, guys. We're done. I'll see you next Monday.